Looks like today's the day, folks. Taking the old 455 out of the Catalina. Gonna pull that HEI out and finish getting the header bolts. It already had the intake off and the rockers off. Wife helped me get that heavy old hood off. But yeah buddy, it's on. Dizzy is out, nice and clean. There's my reliable cooling system, because a 7-blade clutch fan and a steel shroud and aluminum radiator is all you really ever needed on anything. Those are my expensive little adapters that allow me to use actual 63 389 valve covers on my 68 400 heads that were on the 455 here. Give it the look, kind of the look with the stacks like a Super Duty 421. But we're going to run those Morosos on the new motor, at least for the time being. I mean, you know, since the heads are aluminum and say Kaufman on them, it's kind of hard to hide. Headers are off. That took a minute, but easy to work on a big car, and no fender wells too. Summit starter is off, and good thing, because the bolts were coming loose, because that's high quality. Guess I need to Loctite that. Headers are off. Those are first gen D-port 1 3/4 Headmans, first gen Firebird. And passenger side, no modifications required, but driver's side, I notched the frame a few years ago instead of damaging the tube, so that really needs to be finished out one day. Just box it in more, but I modified the car instead of beating the crap out of the headers, but that's the only tube that interfered. And this is based on, of course, using a later style turbohydromatic and later style engine. The motor mounts are correct, the same, you know, but yeah. Well, it's a good thing this motor's coming out, because the bolts were already coming out on both sides on the motor mounts. That's nice. I think you can see it over there maybe. Anyway, got the converter bolts out, got the bottom bell housing bolts out. I forgot I put a 68 to 72 Cutlass cross member on here. Too bad the angle's still bad at the back of the transmission, so maybe I can fix that when we get it going. And there's the forward solenoid I originally mounted close to the starter, so I just unhooked the cable off the other side. You're probably wondering, well, that's probably hard to get to those other wires. Well, I really just did it because that's where the battery cable from the trunk ran out of length, so I just put it right there. But it doesn't make it easier, you know, to have a close proximity to the starter. But yeah buddy, get these bolts loose, fixing to pull her out. Well, she's ready to lift out. Just gonna let the jack down and put something under the old trans. Note the bad angle there on the yoke. So yeah, I need to lift the tail, do a thicker trans mount, pick that up a little bit. I think something like that. Anyway, had to add some gear oil to this old ram on this hoist. Man, this thing's been around. I got this in the 90s. I asked for a hoist to be the payment for doing a motor swap on a 3rd gen Camaro in Oak Cliff back in the day. I said, buy me the hoist and I'll do it. And the sucker still works. It's going on 30 years or 25 years or whatever it is. Anyway, we're put a bottle jack under the trans. See, we've already got a separation. No drama, no fuss. Working on old cars and keeping it simple makes it more enjoyable. Less stress. I want easier as I get older, not harder. And this is easy, and I like it. Normally I wouldn't pull this at a slight angle with the car coming in sideways. It just seemed convenient at the time to park it. So I swung the jack around the hoist so that it's not inclined to flip over. But yeah, she's free. She's free. There she be. I don't know if I'll put the other one in today or not. Not quite sure yet.